Hello and welcome back to Paranormal NL Podcast, located in Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. That's PNL Podcast for short. I'm your host and founder, Jen Noseworthy. Thank you for tuning in to UPRN, United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 FM on that Gulf. For tonight's Haunted Doll special on UPRN segment number 39, I've got a special guest waiting backstage from Oklahoma, who I'll bring on shortly. Now it's time to grab your favorite cold one, a few munchies, and get ready for the spooky show tonight. Paranormal NL Podcast is sponsored by the Bog Team, a boots-on-the-ground Bog Team doing historical paranormal investigations in Newfoundland, Canada. PNL Podcast believes in supporting international paranormal networking and highlighting global paranormal people, places, and things. And you can follow PNL Podcast and the Bog Team on their link tree, Paranormal NL Podcast. Now let's get on with the show. I'm going to welcome on the stage, we've got Jamie Mose. Welcome.
Hello, how are you?
Now, for the listeners on UPRN, I'm going to say welcome back, because before I joined UPRN, you were on Paranormal NL Podcast Season 2, Episode 138, and you were on Season 2, Episode 132 with Teal Gray with the Parahunters when you were at the Independent Order of Odd Fellows.
Yes.
Yeah, so do you want to introduce yourself to the folks on UPRN, United Public Radio Network, who don't know who you are?
Okay. Again, my name is Jamie Mose. I'm from Ardmore, Oklahoma. I'm a part of the Parahunters with Teal Gray, and they're out of Denton. And this year we'll again be doing some special events with them. And I do a lot of just kind of individual work. Again, I collect haunted dolls, and I also do presentations on haunted dolls and other haunted objects. And I just travel a lot on my own, do a lot of investigating. I like to investigate with the Wraith Chasers. I do a lot of events with them. And as a matter of fact, I'm on one of their episodes they just released. It's called Ghost Mob. And we investigated the old South Pittsburgh Hospital in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. And then I also like to do a lot of events with the Kling brothers. They used to be on the TV show Ghost Lab. And so I went to their this last Lone Star Paracon with them, and I'll be doing the next one also, which I believe will be in March, I believe.
Nice.
But yeah, I have a lot of good friends out there.
Yes, and you're also an author, correct?
Yes, it's been a few years back. Me and my good friend Susan Hill, we wrote a book called Respectful Ghost Hunting, and it's still available on Amazon.
Nice. So you're a jack of all trades, Jamie. So what would you like to talk about first?
Well, I would like to talk about the Ghost Mob episode that I was just in. That was the first time I'd ever done anything like that. And what they did is they took 10 people that they knew and put them in each episode. Well, the Old South Pittsburgh Hospital has always been one of my bucket list places, and they knew that. And so they asked me if I would want to do it. And of course, at the beginning, I was a little bit apprehensive because I'm like, oh, goodness, I don't want to be recorded, and all that. But I thought, well, it made me feel really good that they thought enough to ask me to do the episode. So we went to Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, and we had the hospital just to ourselves. And they split us up into a few different groups. And again, there's 10 of us in each episode. And so there was, I believe, 3 of us that were in one of the rooms that we investigated. We didn't get a ton of activity. We did get a few things. So it was really interesting. But if you get a chance, you should watch it. It's good. And then, of course, the first episode was from St. Albans Hospital. And that was also a good one. 10 people that I know were in that episode too. So, and they're expecting to hopefully get 2 more episodes out after this one that I'm in.
Okay. I'll put the link up on your bio for that one. I've got the YouTube link that I'll share there for the Ghost Mob. And
yeah, it should be released on Prime Video sometime soon, but we're not sure when. But they did just go ahead and release it on YouTube.
Yeah, I've got it there. I don't know if you want me to play any clips or if you know what section you're in there.
Oh, goodness. I sure don't. Not right off the top of my head. I'm sorry. I should have looked that up.
Well, it's okay. We can take that one off the stage for now. What other things do you want to talk about? I know you've traveled all over the place, and you've been, with a lot of different crews, a lot of different places around the world. Is there any other ones that you want to share?
Oh gosh, yes, I travel quite a bit. That's one of my loves is to be able to travel and go to places I've never been before. So I have been to the UK 3 times now. The first time I went over, I went to London and Paris, and I went up to Scotland. And just we I found out also whenever I was going over there, I decided to go ahead and do the oh gosh, what is it called? The DNA profile.
Oh
And I
yeah,
found
the
out that
ancestry. Yeah.
yeah, and so I found out that I'm actually part Scottish. And
Oh,
so
that's
that's why I
awesome.
was dying to
That's
go to Scotland. So,
probably why you got drawn to that area, right?
oh yes, and so when we went to Scotland, we went all over Edinburgh, and we got to stay in a really haunted castle there in Bonnyrigg, and then we just toured, just looked around at different places and stuff. Went to some really cool cemeteries and churches and things like that. So we had such a good time. But and then the second time I went over there, I also went to York and then back to Scotland. Um, just kind of all around the UK. But this last trip I took, I went over to Ireland and we stayed there for almost 2 weeks. And this was it was actually just a tour, but it was a haunted tour. And so everywhere we went involved a haunted place. So that's Blarney Castle right there that is on the screen. And so,
Anything in particular happen at any of these places, or did you get to
oh,
meet any ghosts?
oh yes, mainly at Lep Castle. We
Oh,
did get to investigate Lep Castle, and we got a lot of activity there. We got to talk to one guy that was a slave and another guy that was a soldier. And then we talked to another person, but we never quite got what his connection was to the castle. But it was so interesting and it was so much fun. And we got to meet Sean, the one that owns the castle. And
right.
he even invited us to a pub and we got to listen to his band play and things like that. So it was so much fun. But yeah, it's Lep Castle is very, very haunted.
Is that the
So
pub there? Or
uh
maybe
yes, yes it is. Yep.
it looks like you guys had a lot of fun when you were there.
Oh, we did. We did. We went all over the place in Dublin and that's the Cliffs of Moher. And yeah, we just went all over the place through Ireland. So um and again we went to we got a special thing we got invited to. And so we were actually in Burr and it was the Earl of Burr. He invited us since we were Americans, he invited us to come do a whiskey tasting.
Oh,
He started a whiskey distillery, and that whiskey hasn't even been put out to the public yet. But
wow.
he invited us all over, and so of course I don't drink alcohol, but they had food pairings to go with the whiskey, so that's what I was interested in. And all of the food that they had was from there in Burr. So we had venison, we had goat cheese, there was two different professional chefs that were there that fixed the food for us. It was amazing. Oh, the food was just awesome. But yeah, they said that most of the people in the town of Burr have never even been inside the castle because that's actually where the family lives. And so
Oh,
when we
okay.
went in, he actually gave us a tour of the castle. We got to see some of their hidden um like their like hidden cases, like in the library and things like that. And so, like escape routes and things like that from years ago. Whenever the
Wow,
castle
that's
would get,
exciting.
yeah. Oh gosh, there was so much stuff that we got to see and do. It was just so much fun. And oh, that was a trip of a lifetime. That's one of the best trips I've ever taken.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, the castles are amazing. So, did you get to stay overnight in any of them?
Blackwater Castle. Yes, we
Water?
got to spend 2 nights there actually. Um,
Okay,
yeah. Now, and I was a little bit surprised in Blackwater, but it was a lot more like a party atmosphere, I guess you would say. And
right.
so we didn't really get to investigate that much, and we had to be up really early the next morning because we were going on another outing and things like that. So we didn't really investigate just really seriously there, but it was just beautiful. But they of course told us some of the ghost stories there, and they have a garden in the backyard, and it's like a fairy tale is the only way I can explain it to people, because you go there and it's all manicured, greenery, and then they had all different color roses, and you just walk through these little paths, and it's all these beautiful flowers and hanging down out of the trees and things. It was a fairy tale. It was amazing how beautiful it was. But
Nice.
that was just so impressive. And then we got to go up inside the top of the tower so you could see for miles out, and oh, it was amazing.
Awesome. I
Yeah.
remember when I was talking to you before, I was never afraid of dolls or haunted dolls or anything like that. But then, when I was talking to you, I said, well, you kind of explained to me why um, maybe you should be or something like that. Because, ghosts, they want to be hugged, they want to be loved, right? So why else
Mhm.
would you go into a doll and have somebody hang out with you, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Because lately, for some reason, a lot on our Spirit Talker, we've been getting I Move the Dolls a couple of
Really?
times. Yeah, a couple of times we got that. So
Wow.
I thought that was interesting. Do you
Yeah.
have anyone in particular that you like to visit or that you have in your collection?
Well, I have about 3 different ones that I take them with me to public events. And I know everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I use my dowsing rods, or I use the spirit box to try to talk to them, because I don't want to just grab a doll and go. I want to make sure that they want to go. And so I'll ask them to point to who wants to go. And so my dowsing rods will point to whichever doll that wants to go. And then when we get there, a lot of times they're very active. They'll actually talk to the people there. Again,
Okay.
using dowsing rods, using spirit boxes and things like that. And so it's really fun though whenever the dolls are into it and they do want to speak to people, because it freaks a lot of people out. But when I talk to them, I find out like their names and where they were born, when they were born, how they died, when they died. I get a lot of information from them. So it's so interesting because every one of them are different.
Do you
And
have a favorite one that, or that likes to talk to you a lot?
uh, I have one named Daniel. Speaks to me a lot, but he doesn't like to go out in public, and so I actually haven't taken him out in public yet. But
Oh, okay.
let's see. I'm trying to think of the ones that went last time.
I think I have a picture of you at an looks like an event, and you've got a ghost as a purse and a
Yeah.
little
Now
doll.
that doll is fake. She just came from
Oh, okay.
Spirit Halloween. Yeah.
Okay, she was just hanging out.
Yeah, because it's one of those that you can punch in the back, and she'll say all these different sayings, and
Oh,
come
okay,
play with
gotcha.
me and things like that. Yeah, it was funny, but
Yeah. So you have any things that stick out in your mind? Like what got you into collecting them?
well, the very first one I got it was so strange because I'd never, I mean, of course, as a little girl, I like dolls and things like that, but as an adult, it just never really, I never thought about it. But I was
Right.
at this one event that was they were having an auction. And
Yeah.
there was this doll that they said was haunted. Of course, I'm thinking, okay, sure. But then when I went and looked at the doll, for some reason, I had a really strong draw to her. And me and this girl went into like a bidding war over her. And I told the girl, I said, I'll sell my house if I have to. I said, but you're not getting this doll, it's mine. And so she
What?
finally stopped bidding, and I won her. And so I took her home. And after that, it was just like, it opened the door up for a lot of different dolls. And so of course I spoke with her and I got some information from her. And then as I went on, I started finding other dolls, and then as people started finding out that I was collecting dolls and things like that, well, they would buy dolls either at like antique shops, or maybe they were given a doll by someone, and then they would start having nightmares, or they would start seeing shadows in their house, things
Oh,
like that would scare them. And so they would ask me, would you take this doll? Would you keep it? And I'm like, well, sure. And so I have this little routine that I do whenever I do bring a doll in. I tell them, I'll take care of them. They have a nice place to stay. I get them a case so that way they stay clean and everything, but they are not to act up. If they act up, they'll go out in the storage building. And if they go out in the storage building, they won't be able to see everybody else, all the other haunted dolls.
and what kind of things do they do when they act up?
Well, I just don't want them like trying to, like scare me, like make me have nightmares, or do this shadow people thing and all that. So every one of them that I've brought home, they've been really good. They don't Now they might move every once in a while. Like I have a couple of dolls. They like to I'll put them straight in their case, but as time
Right.
goes, they'll slowly start moving and they want to face me. And so I just got to where now I just leave them there. I just let them face me. But because at first I thought, well, is it me? Like, am I hitting the floor or something and making them move? But then I realized none of the other dolls are moving, only the two are moving. And
Oh,
and
okay.
and they just like to face me for some reason, so I just let them face me.
Did you ever get their names or anything out of
Yes,
them and who they
yes,
are or anything about their life?
yes. One doll, she was actually killed in an accident. She
Oh,
was a young teenager. She was like, I think she was 17 when this happened, but she fell through like a wooden floor, and one of the pieces of wood um, went into her. And so I'm going to say that I'm not sure if she died from the infection or from the actual wound itself, but, and she died in 18, sorry, I'm not at home, I'm at work. And so I cannot think of the years. I haven't written on cards at home, but, I think it was like 1880 something
wow.
when she died.
Yeah.
And then, and yeah, and then and I don't know why she attached to that specific doll. But again, like I said, you just never know if the doll belonged to a little girl, that the little girl loved on it and talked to it and stuff all the time. That may have been why she attached to it. I'm not 100% sure. And then I have another doll that she said she was actually killed on a wagon.
Hmm.
That the wagon flipped over, and I guess it smashed her and it killed her.
Oh,
Um, let's see, I'm trying to think of some of the other. The one I was telling you that was named Daniel. Now
right.
he's very interesting. He said that he was part of the mob, and he's from Chicago.
Oh, from the mob. Wow.
Yes, and he said that he was disemboweled, and that he does not know where his body is.
Oh my gosh.
To this day, he said he does not know where his body is. So, of course, he's from Chicago, so I don't know what happened to him or whatever. But it sounded like to me that he was, killed by another mobster or something. But yeah, I mean, he was really interesting to talk to. I was shocked at all the things he told me. So, but yeah, all their stories are so individualized and so just interesting. I mean, they're just people, so they're going to, tell you what happened to them and
Have you
how they
had
died.
people like give you dolls and say,
Yes,
I can't handle this? Like there's something going on with this doll or
yes,
things like that?
I've gotten 2 dolls that way. Yeah.
And
So, and that's what they would say. They'd say like, well, one of them said that she was hearing voices in the house, and again, she could see shadow people, and then she started having really intense nightmares, and so she knew it was the doll, because she said that was the only change that she had had, and she had bought it from an antique store, and so she asked me to take it, and I've not had any problems with the doll.
no, what do you say to the people who are like, oh, you should put it in glass? But I mean, if it's haunted, I don't think glass will
No,
stop it. Do you?
no, no. But I just, but you can put, like a circle of salt around it. There's different things if you feel like that they're evil. But if they're just a human spirit, there's really not a lot you can do, to, I don't know what the word is. I mean, you can, try to sage it or whatever and try to get rid of it like that. But usually, like salt and holy water and that kind of thing, that's only going to work if it's a negative
Right.
entity. But if it's just a human spirit, all you can do is either ask it to leave, or again, you can try to sage it and things like that and try to see if it will go. But yeah, the ones I've taken, I've not had any issues with. Like I said, they're really good. They've not. But again, I give them the little speech. I'm like, don't do anything stupid, or I will throw you out back out in the storage building. So,
I know my
but
grandmother had a few real spooky ones with, the old-fashioned porcelain ones with the
yes,
eyes that moved and stuff like that. But I mean, I grew up with the Raggedy Ann dolls, so to
oh,
me, they're like, they're not scary at all to me. But then other
mm-mm.
people are like freaked out because of, Annabelle and things like that.
Yeah.
Have you gone to see her?
I have not. I've gotten close, but I've not never gotten to actually see her. And as a matter of fact, they came down to San Antonio, which is only about 4 hours from me. And I wished I could have went, but I had another event, so I didn't get to go. I'm
Um,
gonna one of these days. I'm gonna see her and Robert. I'm dying to see Robert too, down in Florida. But one of these
isn't
days, I'll
there
make it there.
another one, Peggy? Have you got to see
Yes.
that one?
Well, she is actually, and I did, but she's actually in Zach Bagans'
Right.
his haunted museum now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I did see her. I have seen her.
Yeah, there's so many different ones, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot out there, and of course on Peggy, they say, you're not supposed to look in her eyes. You're not supposed to do all these different things. But I did it all, and nothing happened.
Yeah, that was
But
the next thing I was gonna ask you about. Some people say you're not supposed to look at them a certain way or depending on what doll it is.
yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, some of it, I don't know. I kind of think it's the energy that you give. Like with me, I don't have enough sense to be scared of it, I guess, because like even when we're investigating and stuff, it does not bother me to be I'd rather be by myself because that way I know that there's no interference, and things like that. But um, I think a lot of it is that, because you know how hauntings do that, feed off of your energy. And so
Right.
if you're scared of it and you're nervous and
Yeah.
you're giving that energy, that's what I think that they're drawn to and they can attach to.
Yeah,
And
that
so
it'll feed off of it, right? It'll just use
exactly.
that
Or
energy.
not so
Yeah,
much even attached to it, but just be drawn to it. But
right.
yeah, and that's what I think. I think a lot of it is the energy that you have with you. And so, and since like I said, I just don't have enough sense to be scared, they don't get anything from me. They don't get that energy. So they're just kind of like, meh, just kind of leave me alone, I guess.
Have you ever been to the Doll Island?
I have not. That's also on my bucket list.
I was gonna
One,
ask you, yeah, what's on your bucket list? I bet that one's up
oh,
there.
that is on my bucket list. If there's any way I can ever make it down there, I want to go. So.
Do you have any other bucket lists for, places that you wanna go?
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, I would love to go to Italy, Greece. I would love to go to Poveglia Island in Italy. I'm not sure if I think they still let you do investigations there, but ooh, I would love to go there. And in the U.S., there's still some places in the U.S. I haven't been. Like I was saying, like I would love to go see Robert the Doll down in Florida, but I've not ever been to the. Oh gosh, I just totally went blank. The lighthouse that's down there, St. Augustine Lighthouse.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I love to do that, and then, oh gosh, I can't even think. There's so many places that I still haven't been.
Well, there's so many places that you have been, though. There's,
Yeah,
let's see, Lizzie Borden, you got to go there, right?
yes, uh-huh,
Did you get
yep,
to do
and I
any.
actually slept in Lizzie's room.
Oh, wow. Did you have
Yeah,
any, experiences?
we did have a little bit there. We got one good EVP, because I was talking to my friend and I was asking her now, what was the stepmom's name that was stabbed? And my stepmom, my friend said Abby, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Abby." And then we got a really clear EVP after that that said Abby.
Oh,
So yeah, we still have that. So that was really cool. And then we saw a few things. We saw some light anomalies in there. We heard noises. It sounded like either like a box was moved or something like wooden was moved. But we looked all around. Of course, we were the only ones in the basement. There was just two of us, and we looked all around and we could not figure out what moved.
hmm.
But yeah, just things like that. It was fun. It was really really neat.
Yeah, I know paranormal tourism is really fun. Did you
Oh
have
yeah.
any ones that were, like, number 1 on your list? I know you've been to a lot of different places, like some of the jails and stuff you've been. I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of hauntings there.
Yeah, we did just our own investigation at Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary. That was amazing. We got a lot of activity there and it was just amazing. I mean, it was so much fun to just be there just by ourselves. And again, that's what I really like to do is just be by ourselves where there's not any interference from other people. When you
Right.
do the public events, they're still fun and you still sometimes can kind of get away from people, but you get a lot of newbies. And I mean, and I'm not saying anything bad, I mean, they're new, so they don't really understand that when you talk a lot or you're scooting and moving and, all that kind of stuff, they're messing up
Too
your,
much
your
noise.
EVPs. And,
Right,
and
yeah.
so, and it's just stuff they need to learn. But again, it's just so much, for me, it's so much better just when we go by ourselves. So we've been to Bobby Mackey's and did an investigation there. uh,
That's awesome now
Waverly
that,
Hills.
it's torn down now, so
It's gone.
that's a
Yeah.
big deal that you were able to do that, and you
Mhm.
met a lot of other people along your way too.
Oh gosh, yes. Yep, I've got, friends pretty much almost all over the world now. So, that's really interesting to me. I never in my life would have ever thought that I would know so many people from different places and things, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I see you like to bring your camera. Do you have a favorite, piece of equipment or anything like that that you like to use?
I would say probably my favorite is my dowsing rods. I seem to always get really good activity with that and lots of good answers, and I've learned to, like, go through the ABCs. That's how I learn a lot of people or dead people, I should say, a lot of spirits' names is by going through the ABCs, and a lot of times I don't know how to say it. I'm not I don't have really, like, any abilities or anything, but it's like after I do a few letters of their names, a lot of times I can guess it. I
Okay.
can guess what their
Yep.
name is, and then they'll either say yes or no, and then I'll have to keep going, but anyways, but yeah, my dowsing rods are really, really good. I really like to use those, and of course, I like the K2s, and then I like um I just totally went blank, REM pods. I like the REM pods. I do a lot with those because, again, you can get a lot of yes or no questions and things like that, so and of course, your recorders, your voice recorders are like the one of the best things to take because that way you catch your EVPs and things. So,
Yeah. Do you have
yeah,
anyone in particular that sticks out?
like an
Any
EVP?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, there's a lot. I really like it when they say my name.
Do you?
Yeah, so I have a few that are recorded where, like, we were at the haunted house, or sorry, the haunted hill house in Mineral Wells, Texas.
Right.
And, there's only 6 of us adults in the building, and so, we had heard a little girl laugh. So we were trying to figure out where did it come from, was it from a toy? And so we were all downstairs, and you hear from upstairs a little girl's voice says, "Jamie." And I was like and at first I thought they were teasing me because I thought, "Oh, whatever, that was way too clear and loud for it to be real." But then when I looked at my friends, they're all eyes are huge, and I could tell right away and we don't do that. We don't try to tease each other or joke or anything because that can
Yeah.
run into people are gonna
Yeah.
doubt your evidence and stuff if you're always joking around. So,
Right.
anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, but when I realized that that was real, I was like, "Wow, that's really cool." So we got the recording from that, and then at, Ashmore Estates in Ashmore, Illinois, they said my name, and at Waverly Hills, they said my name.
So they know
So,
you, uh-huh.
yeah, and that's what I've learned too is after you go to a place a few times, they remember you.
Yeah.
Because
I've
sometimes
been
I'll go in and I won't introduce myself, I'll just say, "Do you remember who I am?" And sometimes they'll say yes, and then sometimes like at Waverly Hills, that's what they said. They said, "Where's Jamie?" And I'm like, "I'm right here."
they remember, right? A lot of times we'll
Yes,
get "Welcome back," or "I know you," or "You're known." Like,
yes,
you'll just go and drive to a certain area. We like to just do impromptu stuff and just drive and, just stop at a spot and try it out, and sometimes it'll say, "You are known," or "Welcome back," or yeah, it's
yeah,
interesting, right?
yeah, and I think that's so cool, when they get to know you.
Yeah, it is cool, especially
Yeah,
because then when they call you by name, you wonder, "Hmm, are these friendly?" Or
yeah,
you're hoping that they are, right?
yes, that is true. I'm like, "Just don't say it in, like, a really bad demonic voice, and then we'll be okay."
Did you have any weird experiences while you were in Scotland?
Well, let's see, I'm trying to think. We did go to this one, castle, like I was saying, that we stayed it was like a 600-year-old castle, and I
Right?
got a couple of EVPs there, and
Yeah.
then, just a few noises, and we heard a man's voice, and we were down in the dungeon, which is now a restaurant, but we were down there by ourselves, and so, yeah, so we got a few things there, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, because those places are so old, there's a lot of history into them.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, it was said that the king I think it was King David the 6th that built that castle, if I'm not mistaken, but
Wow.
anyways, he, had a mistress, and, of course, the queen found out about it, and so they said that the mistress's name was Catherine, and
Oh,
they said once the queen found out about it, that Catherine disappeared and nobody ever saw her again. They never even found her body. And so I was down in the dungeon actually by myself, and I said, "Is there Catherine here?" I said, "What happened to you? Where are you?" And then I got an EVP that said Catherine. And so I was like, well, that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. That's whoever it was who was talking to you knew who she was. I wonder, was
Yeah,
it her? Make you wonder, right?
yes.
Could it have been her?
I wondered that myself. I was like, I'm hoping it was her, but you know, without knowing for sure, I don't know.
Are there any other places that you've been that you really enjoyed going to and got like a lot of evidence?
Well, Waverly Hills is very active for us. Now, I've heard of other people going and they said they didn't really get too much, but every time we've been, and I've been there 5 or 6 times now, oh my goodness, we get all kinds of activity there. We get whistles, we smell the fresh bread cooking because, you know, there used to be a bakery there in Waverly. Um, and I'm not sure if I said the whistle. I got the whistle right in my ear. We've got the doppelganger. Like one of my friends, she was way at the other end of the building, and then I heard her voice and flashlights. I saw flashlights, and so I yelled for her, and she didn't answer. And so we went down there and looked, and there was nobody down there. There was nobody at all. And she went outside to look because you can go out in front of the building and you can see all the way down to the other end. They were still down at the other end of the building.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so I was like, "Wow," but it was her voice, totally her voice that I heard, but it
Wow.
was not her. And then, I've got a lot of EVPs, I got a rock thrown at me there, trying to think of what else had happened, but
What the
oh gosh,
shadow
all kinds
figures at
yes.
Waverly? Did you have any of those?
Oh, I was gonna say that we saw all kinds of shadow figures, and then on one of the SLS cameras, which was super cool, one of the guys there was talking, and it was a male, spirit, and so
Right.
he said, "Well, would you shake my hand?" I'm sorry, "Would you shake my hand?" And so you could see on the SLS that the, figure reached his hand out and shook his hand,
Oh, I
and
love it
so
when
we're
they
like, "Oh,
do
that's
stuff
so
like
cool."
that. That's fun, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
but yeah, it's always very active there. And then what's surprising is, there's actually not a lot of open haunted places here in Oklahoma. There have been in the past, but you know how it is. Ghost hunters go in there and they kind of mess things up, and so they'll close it
Yeah.
down and they won't allow any more ghost hunting and things like that. But there is a place here in Oklahoma, in Hugo, Oklahoma, and
Okay.
it's called the Frisco Depot Museum. It used to be a train station.
Oh,
And that is one of the most haunted places I have ever been.
is
And
it?
they still allow ghost hunting there and everything, and so
Okay.
it's really, really neat. So if anyone is close to this area or ever gets a chance to go there, go there. And it's really neat because it's actually the town itself is where a lot of the circuses used to winter there. And so they actually have a circus cemetery there also.
Okay.
Yes, and so you can go there and you can see a lot of the performers, the tightrope walkers and even one of the
Wow.
ringmasters and all that kind of stuff. And their headstones are amazing. They are so cool because they have all of the stuff on there from whatever they did in the circus. Even when the circuses, I mean, I'm sorry, one of the headstones, I think it was just a guy that fed the elephants, but
Oh,
it was on there that he cared for the elephants, took care of them, and fed them and everything. And so it's really, really cool.
did you ever have any of those ghosts come through from the circus?
I'm not really sure if they're from the circus, but mainly from the Harvey House. There was a Harvey House in there, which is one of the first chain restaurants in the United States, and they were
Okay.
in several of the train stations, and it was just a restaurant. Well, that's a big long story about the Harvey girls. They had a lot of stipulations on them. They couldn't be married. They couldn't have children. They had to be escorted anywhere they went in the town because they didn't want them getting in any trouble or anything. But it's a lot of the Harvey girls that come through at the Frisco Depot Museum. So,
Okay.
and money motivates them. And so if you promise to put, or if you put money out on the counter and things like that, they'll light up the equipment. They'll talk to you. Yeah, it's really neat. But I
Yeah.
did get the matron that was the one that would take care, and she would be the one if the girls went out in the town or whatever, she would be the one with them. And so I was teasing one night, and I said, let's sneak out. Let's go to the movies. Let's see if we can meet some guys. Y'all want to go with me? Well, there was a plastic bucket that had been sitting up on the back stairs for the whole night. And this is probably getting to be about 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning. The bucket came flying down the stairs. She threw the bucket at me for trying to talk the girls into going and getting into trouble.
Oh no. I was going to say I love leaving trigger objects and stuff like that out that
Oh, yeah.
are related to the house or wherever you are to see if there's any activity with it. That's always fun.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever got any other trigger activity evidence or
I have a Boo
fun?
Bear. I guess I think it's called the Boo Bear Junior or whatever. I do get a lot of kids with the bear. So yeah, so that's
Okay.
a really good one. Money is always seems to be a good motivator because especially like if we go to jails or if we go to anything to do with the Old West and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times if you put money out, they'll interact with you because they're that's what they want is they want money. So
They'll come and
but
grab it.
yeah, but even food, a lot of times food is a good trigger object. Like we were at Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum,
Yeah.
and one of the guys was talking about birthdays, and then he talked about birthday cake, and
Okay.
we got an EVP that, oh gosh, now I can't remember word for word what it said, but it's something along the lines of "I like chocolate cake."
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been out a couple times and said, "Hey, we're going for ice cream. Do you want to come along?" And then it'll start talking about the kids and everything. And so
Yes.
you never know like what you're going to get tagging along with you when you start talking about different stuff, or
Well,
even like tobacco. We've
yes.
used that before as a trigger object. That's a good one if you're at different places like saloons and
Hmm.
different bars and stuff, right?
Oh, yes, because we were at Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, and they had said that there was one particular cell that if you light the cigarette, that it'll actually like I don't know what you call it, but they'll take a drag of it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I thought, okay, whatever. Well, we lit the cigarette, and I'll be darned if it did not happen. I mean, it lit up really bright red, like somebody was taking a drag, and I was just floored. And of course, we recorded it because I was like, that's amazing.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was really, and liquor, if you
Yes.
take liquor to either, you know, um, well, saloons, like you were saying, saloons, or even a lot of prisons and things like that. Yeah, that gets a lot of activity too.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah.
I guess we can give a shout out to your other crew, the para hunters. I was gonna pull them up.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been out with them, or are you going to go to Denton this year with them?
Yeah. Yes, we will be doing the events in Denton again this year. We'll be doing the Emily Fowler Library, and then we're going to do. It's a different cemetery, and I cannot remember the name of it right now. But yeah, and then we'll also be going to Weatherford, Texas, and we're going to do like a Halloween event for the Pythian Children's Home there.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
and so yeah, so we'll be doing different things. So be sure and look for that in like the Denton newspapers, and of course on the Parahunters page, we'll be posting where we're going to be and the times and all of the information for that.
Fun, lots of activities.
Oh
Do
yes,
you have any activities coming up before October? I think you mentioned a couple activities.
yes, I'll be going to a couple of events. I'll be going with the Wraith Chasers down to Jefferson, Texas, to the they changed the name of it, but used to be called just the Jefferson Hotel. But they
Okay.
changed the name of it now they added something to it. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it. My memory's horrible. But anyways, but we'll be doing an event down there, and we're actually going to be doing a pre-party thing, and so it's going to be the '90s, and so we get to dress up like in the '90s and things like that. So it's going to be
Oh,
really fun. But
that
then we'll
sounds fun.
investigate the hotel, the next
Yeah,
night.
love
So
it.
then
Fun.
I'll be going to also with the Ray Chasers to Jefferson City, Missouri, to a Missouri State Penitentiary. We'll be doing an investigation there, and then also to Branson, Missouri, to the Titanic Museum there.
Is that going to be part of the Ghost Mob, or is that just
No,
no?
no,
Okay,
that's just with the an event with the Ray Chasers.
gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
fun. You got a lot of different people that you get to hang out with.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, have you ever been over to Canada?
I have not. I've been over it in an airplane. Going to the UK, but not on the ground. But I'm dying to come there one of these days. I would love to go to Niagara Falls, so I would like to go there and then come across into Canada. But I definitely want to go to, oh gosh, I just totally lost the name of the town, but where the Titanic, the people from the Titanic, where they buried their body.
Oh, is that in Nova Scotia you're thinking of? Maybe. I think that's where they brought them in. Now
Oh,
it
was it? Okay.
sank off the coast over by or it could be New Brunswick, but it sank off the coast of Newfoundland. And we've
Yeah.
got several different museums. In fact, we just had another museum open this year with the Titanic.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, and we've been getting a lot of cruise ship passengers coming off and looking around, because down here we're like the most easterly place in North America, but got the oldest city in North America, St. John's. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so
Oh,
there's a lot of different ghosty pubs and stuff like that downtown that are definitely haunted. And you don't even need to go into a pub. You can just go anywhere outside and walk around, and they'll come up on Spirit Box and talk to you. A lot of military people too from the
oh,
war.
wow.
Yeah, really fun.
Well, they say that about Scotland and Ireland too, that a lot of times if you're walking around through the streets and stuff, that you'll see people and then they'll be gone, like see them 1 second and the next second they're gone because they're spirits. So I
Yeah,
didn't, I didn't, I didn't get to see one, but I mean, I might have and didn't know it, but I didn't get to see one.
yeah, we have a medium on the bog team, two mediums actually, and some of them can, see the apparitions, and they've seen multiple of them, especially the soldiers, especially when it's around a time when we're going to have like a parade or something like that. And
Oh,
we
yeah.
just recently got one of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers that came across from the UK, so that's a big draw for tourists here too.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, a
Well,
lot of
I'm going to
fun.
have to come visit you one of these days.
Oh my gosh, you would love it here. There's so much stuff to do, and of course, we got Bell Island. There's been a lot of people coming over here doing different paranormal things there. I know Zach sent his crew over, and Beyond the Hunting were here, and oh
Um,
gosh, Red Earth Uncovered. They did a lot of different TV things, but yeah, you'd love it here.
well, yeah, I got to come over there one of these days.
Yeah, and you got to give a shout out again to your other episodes. Season 2, episode 138. You'll have to check that out with Jamie. So we're up to the 42-minute mark, but I guess if you want, you can start giving a few shout outs to your fans and stuff and where they can find you on your socials.
Okay. Well, on Facebook, I usually just do mainly Facebook, Instagram. I do have TikTok, but I don't do just a whole lot on there. I need to do more. But anyways, it's just Jamie Mose on Facebook, and then on Instagram it is Jamie MPTA. So
Copy.
yeah, but yeah, and I'm pretty easy to find because I try to keep everything public, and so. But yeah, and then of course on the Parahunters, if you look on Parahunters, I'm listed on there too.
Yep, and then again with the Wraith Chasers on the Ghost Mob, you can check her out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. It was really fun to do, and I kind of actually finally got to kind of see behind the scenes, I guess you could say, on how they film and do things like that. But it was really neat. It was so much fun. And then of course that, like I said, that was one of my bucket list places. And that was the first time I was there is when we did Ghost Mob. But I have been there again since and got to investigate. So
So,
yeah.
is there any other places if I'm going to go to Oklahoma for paranormal tourism? I know you mentioned one place. Are there other places in Oklahoma that
The
you
other
would
probably
recommend?
a good place to go to. I'm trying to think. The Skirvin Hotel in Oklahoma City, that's a public place that you can go to, but there's all kinds of hauntings that happen there. And
Right.
then in Guthrie, there's a few buildings there that you can go to. And then they have a really good ghost tour or walk also in Guthrie,
Guthrie?
Oklahoma. And also in Oklahoma City, there's Jeff Provine. He does a lot of the ghost tours and things like that. So, and it's really good to take the ghost tours because, he does show you the buildings that do have a lot of history, and then he also tells you the like murders or deaths that happen, and that's why the building is haunted. So, but yeah, Jeff Provine is a good person to go to. He does tours in Oklahoma City and in Norman, and even on the OU campus, the University of Oklahoma campus.
Do you
So,
ever have people come and visit your dolls?
not really.
No.
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 And then when people do come in the house, especially if it's somebody I don't know, it kind of freaks them out. So, like I've had a couple of different work guys come in and they're like, "What is the deal with those dolls? They're staring at me." And so I say, "Well, they're haunted." And they're like, "Oh gosh." So they're ready to get back out of the house at that point.
And what do you say for the people who want to start a collection?
Mm, most people, I encourage them or discourage them, I guess, to not do it because,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of scary and you can get into trouble with it. And so, unless you are familiar with it and kind of know what to do, don't do it. Because you can get a bad attachment or a bad spirit, and
Okay.
you can get yourself into a lot of trouble. And because I know right now it's kind of the hot thing to be doing, is a lot of people are collecting haunted dolls and haunted objects and things like that. But again, I've been contacted a couple of times. Can you help me out because this doll is freaking me out, doing different things, and so yeah, you gotta kind of know what you're doing. So
Like when you go on your trips and come back, do you have some of your dolls who are angry at you for being gone?
not usually. I am pretty good about telling them, hey, I'm leaving. I won't be back until whatever day. So take care of the house, that kind of thing. So now only one time did I leave, and I was in a big hurry and I just ran out of the house, and I was like 50, 60 miles down the road before I realized I didn't tell them I was going to be gone for several days. And I thought, oh, well, no big deal. Well, when I came back, I can't 100% say it was my dolls, but I cannot explain what happened. But what happened was is when I came home, everything was perfect, everything was fine in the house, and then I went to open my refrigerator, and everything in my refrigerator had been pulled forward and all fell out on the floor. And I thought, "What in the world?" And so I looked around the house again. I said, "Was there an earthquake? Did somebody break in?" I'm thinking all these things, but everything in the house was perfect. All the pictures were straight on the wall, and so nothing had happened. And so the only thing I could think of was, did they get upset with me? And I love to eat. That's my big thing is to eat. And thought that, did they attack my food because I made them mad by not telling them I was going to be gone for several days? I don't know. But that's what happened when I got home. Everything in my refrigerator was pulled forward and all fell on the floor.
Do you do any kind of protection stuff in your home for the dogs?
Not for the dolls, but just for me personally, I will.
Excuse
Yeah.
me. Sorry, I
And
got
and
my
then just to
page going.
protect, oh, bless you. But just to protect my house and things like that, but not specifically for the dolls, no.
Okay, because I know some people, they have different things that they do or different rituals and things like that. But do you have any rituals that you do with your dolls or?
Mm-mm. Nope. Nope, we just hang out, and I'll tell them, I'm like, so tomorrow night I'm thinking about maybe, talking to some of y'all. So I'll ask them, I'll get my dowsing rods. I say, who wants to talk to me? And so whoever that the rods point at, that's the doll I'll pull, and then I'll try to get some information from them. So
Uh,
I try to be very, I don't know what the word is. I don't want to force them to do anything they don't want to do. And so that's why when I go to events and things like that, I'll ask who wants to go, and I'll let them tell me who wants to go, and things like that. So I don't want to just yank them up and say, we're going. I don't,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I want to keep them as happy as they can be, because I promised them that whenever I brought them home. I'm like, this is your home now. You're not going to be forced to do anything. I'm not going to let anybody touch you that you don't want to touch you, and things like that. So that's why a lot of times when I go to public events, I put signs out, do not touch these dolls, because I promised them they wouldn't be touched, and I'm not going to break my promise to them. So,
Okay. Do you like find that if you don't pay attention to them, that they kind of start poking you or doing stuff or?
no, no, they're pretty happy. Most of them I try to face towards the TV, so that way they do have something to talk
Okay.
to. There's enough of them now that they kind of just, you know, talk amongst themselves kind of thing. But yeah, no,
Right.
they've not ever, like I said, once we get in the house and once I have my little speech to them and everything, the only thing I've had happen, like I said, they've turned, a couple of them have turned, and things like that, but nothing that they haven't tried to scare me. They haven't tried to touch me or, pull my hair, nothing like that.
Well, that's good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You got them under control.
Yes,
Is there
yes.
anything else that you want to mention about your book that you have, The Respectful Ghost Hunting?
Well, again, it's still available on Amazon. And then, of course, I try to bring some with me any events I go to. And so if you want a signed copy, you can let me know and we can sign it for you and send it to you or anything like that. We're pretty easygoing. So, and like a lot of the books that I carry with me, my friend Susan that co-wrote the book, she already has signed it. And then I've done the same for her. I've signed a lot of books, so that way she has those with her too. So, and of course, if you don't mind it not being signed, you can buy one on Amazon, or you can buy one on Amazon and bring it to an event, however you want to do it.
There you go. Because you're at a lot of different events coming up soon, right?
Oh yeah, I try to go to a lot of events, but I'm kind of having a little bit of health issues right now, so I'm
Right.
going to be slowing down just a little bit because I may possibly have to have surgery beginning of next year or so.
Okay.
I've had injured my back. I've injured my back multiple times, but
I'm
it's
sorry.
gotten to the point now where I
I
finally
guess
went to go see a neurosurgeon, and they said that I need surgery. So I'm trying to do some injections and things like that, and try to hold off because I don't want to do back surgery. But
right. We
you
should
know,
probably give a shout out again to Teal Gray too, who's
yes,
going
the
through
Teal, yes,
some medical stuff also.
and Susan Hill, she can use a lot of prayers too. She's doing better, and Teal's doing okay right now. So, but yeah, several of us are popped up with health problems. So
'Tis the season, right?
I guess so.
Well, I really appreciate having you on the show and all your expertise with all your haunted ghost dolls and, with all the different things that you're involved with. Is there anything else or any other shout outs that you want to give to your fans?
Well, and I did want to say though, if you do have issues with a doll, you can contact me and let me know. Because what I've done for another person was she had a doll that was scaring her too. And I told her, I
Okay,
said, I can take it and talk to it and find out.
right.
And I actually did it right there with her because she was
Oh,
from like Dallas area or something. And come to
okay.
find out it was her grandmother, and her grandmother's just checking in. So once she figured out who it was and everything, and I tell people a lot of times it is just your family or just a human spirit that's just nosy or whatever, and kind of just wants to get to know you. But it is unnerving, when they do these things to you. But a lot of times, if you just get an understanding with them and learn how to talk to them and things like that, it'll calm, a lot of things will just calm down, because a lot of times they may just want to tell you something, or again, they're just nosy, want to know you,
Yeah.
want to know things about you. So, but yeah, if you have trouble with the doll, let me know. I'll be more than glad to try to help out in any way I can.
Yeah, that
So,
makes complete sense what you said about, the family. Do you find that that happens a lot, that it's a family member who goes in
oh,
there?
yes, a lot of hauntings, not
Yeah.
just dolls, but just standard hauntings. A
Mhm.
majority of the time, it's your family or
Mm.
someone you know. It could be a friend.
Yeah.
But
And
sometimes it's an old homeowner and things like that. It's just it can be
a lot
different
of
people,
times
but
they're just benevolent, but, they're just trying to get your attention. They don't mean
exactly.
to be scary, they're just trying to get your attention, right?
And I try to tell them that. I said they're just people without bodies, so they have to do different things to try to get your attention. And
Yeah.
and it's unnerving, but a lot of times they just want to give you a message.
Yeah, message from beyond. Are there other things that your dolls have given you message-wise?
Um, Not so much personally for me, it's more from them. Like like I said, just information about them.
But
But yeah, but I mean, I've gotten lots of messages, from different places, even just dowsing rods. Like I've got a lot of family that stays with me. I've got an ancestor that's over 1,000 years old that stays with me all the time.
wow.
And yeah, and so anyway, but I do get messages, and I listen to them because like sometimes I'll ask, should I go into this place? And if they say no, then I won't do it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's good. They're kinda like your spirit guides in a way
Yes,
too,
they
right?
are. They
Telling
are.
you what's good and what's not, like, "Hey, don't go there," or "Don't do that." Do you
Yes,
ever have them mess with, do you have pets?
I do not.
Okay, I was gonna say, do you ever have
I
them mess with
travel way too
them?
much to have
Right.
any pets anymore.
Yeah, that'd be too hard. Well, I really appreciate, again, you, being on the show with us today
Well, thank you
and
for
all of
having
your
me.
awesome work, and, everybody, make sure you follow Jamie and all of her different socials. I'll put some up on her bio there, and, let's see, we'll leave with a little bit of music. What would you like to hear? We got rock, we got metal, we got 80s, we got rap. I think we even got some country here somewhere. What would you
Mm, I don't know. One of my favorite bands is Def Leppard, so anything by Def Leppard is good with me.
Okay, well, this is some 80s bog music, boots on the ground music, because P&L Podcast is sponsored by the Boots on the Ground. And you're
Okay.
listening on UPRN, United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans, and 105.3 FM on that Gulf. So thanks again, folks, for tuning in, and make sure you follow Jamie Mose. We're going to leave you with a little bit of music here.
Where the whispers start, ghostly figures in the midnight hour, specters gripped with icy cold power. Bigfoot's roar echoes through the trees. Footprints vanish with the autumn breeze. Night vision scopes on the prowl, searching for his soul, that howling growl. Aliens in the sky we shout, where's the truth? Let's find it out. Science bound yet hearts of steel. The unknown close yet surreal. Haunted hall screams in the void. Eerie forces we cannot avoid. Cold spots whisper secrets untold. Spirit tales that never grow old. Out in the realm where reason flees, we scour lands and sail the seas. Energies collide in the spectral storm, solving mysteries out on the norm. Radio signals from distant stars, proof of life beyond Mars. Eyes to the heavens, searching strong, believing we'll find where they belong. Aliens in the sky we shout, where's the truth? Let's find it out. Science bound yet hearts of steel.
That is awesome. I love that song.
I'm going to keep it rolling there. Try to get to the 50-minute mark almost.
Yet surreal. Yet surreal.
There we go. I think I'll end the recording here. Thanks again for being on the show, Jamie.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.